Hey everyone, Yavar here from VPMA. In this quick video, we'll show you how easy it is to set your jobs and smart folders to Cyclic in Control-M SaaS. This functionality allows your jobs and folders to run multiple times in a day using whichever rerun interval or pattern that we define. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. First, you want to open up a workspace in the planning domain and load all of the jobs and smart folders that you'd like to make cyclic. Here you can see I have a dummy test job that I'll be applying all of the different cyclic settings to. Once you have your jobs and folders loaded into a workspace, with one of those jobs selected, you can navigate over to the scheduling tab in the properties panel on the right hand side. And here we can see all of the different rerun cyclic settings that we have available. One thing to keep in mind, you can apply these rerun cyclic settings to all of the different job types in Control-M and even to our smart folders. So if I click on the parent smart folder of this job, going into the scheduling tab, we can see we have the same rerun settings available. Now going back to our jobs rerun settings, in order to enable cyclic, we need to toggle the cyclic option here. And below it, we can define our cyclic rerun interval for the job. Now, the default rerun settings is set to a normal interval, which allows this job to run at however every minutes that we define. So this can be set to every 5 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and so on. And we also have the ability to change it from minutes to hours and even days if necessary. Another option we have available, we can change our rerun settings from using a normal interval to a interval sequence. And this allows our job to rerun using a particular pattern or sequence that we define. So for example, the first rerun of this job can be set after 5 minutes. The one after that can be set to after 15 minutes. And the third rerun can be after 30 minutes of the second rerun. So using the interval sequence here, we can define a particular pattern or sequence that the job should follow when it reruns. And finally, we have the at specific times option. This allows us to set specific times that this job should rerun. So if, for example, the first rerun should be at 12:15, we can define that here. We can say 12:15 a.m. And then the next rerun of this particular job, again, we can define the second time here. So we can say the second rerun will be at 12:45. Now going back to a normal interval, we can see we have another option available here, and that is the from jobs setting. Now this setting indicates whether the interval between the runs of the cyclic job is measured from the start or the end of the previous job's run. For example, if the value is set to start, which it is by default, the time until the next job's run is counted from the moment that the current job or folder run begins. If this option is set to end, the time until the next job run is counted from the moment that the current job or folder completes. And similarly, if it's set to target, the interval is measured from the scheduling time of the current job or smart folder. And BMC has documentation available that goes over all of these settings in detail. We'll make sure that is in the description of this video. And finally, we have the maximum reruns option, which allows us to set a maximum rerun limit on our job. So for example, if the job should run only 5 times in a day with the cyclic settings enabled, then we can simply put 5 here. This will prevent the job from running more than 5 times a day or whatever value that we set in this maximum reruns section. And another key point, one way you can tell if a job or smart folder is cyclic, if you zoom in onto the job, if the cyclic option is toggled on a job or smart folder, it'll have this little cyclic icon in the middle graphical view. Once you're done configuring your cyclic settings, you can check in your workspace, and the next time this job loads into the plan, it'll load with these cyclic settings applied. And now we'll see how our dummy job will behave with the cyclic settings enabled and set to rerun every 5 minutes. As we can see, the job ran, immediately ended okay because it's a dummy job, and is currently waiting for its next rerun time. We can go into the waiting info on this right-hand panel to confirm. As we can see, the next rerun is set for 1955. With that being said, that brings us to the end of this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to drop it below and we'd be happy to get back to you. Thanks for watching.